So, hi, welcome to new video, and today I'm going to talk about my diet approach and about diet for strength sport where relative strength to your body weight matters. Yeah? I will explain later why I call it like this. So first of all, before we get into the diet, we need to get into something like optimal body composition for the sport that you do. Yeah? And I'm going to talk about performance, not about bodybuilding, just to make it clear. Yeah, so for sports where your relative strength is everything, it's either pull-ups, for example, that's my case, even weighted pull-ups, or it can be also some static skills, it can be climbing possibly, it can be many sports, but I don't think it's street lifting because of the fact that there is dips and squats without coefficients. Now, I don't criticize the format, just these rules that I will say won't apply to it, because for squat you can have very bulky body, let's say, with also carrying quite a lot of fat and maximizing the mass that way, and you will lift a lot, and because there is no coefficient it will possibly overcome the losses in pull-up and muscle-up. In dip is something between pull-up and squat in this, I believe. Yeah? So, let's get into it. What is the goal body composition? We all know that mass moves mass, but yeah, the mass must be at the specific places where you need it. Yeah? So, the goal is to have very lean body and having muscles that are specifically built by specific training for the movement you want to perform. Yeah? You don't even want to have maximum muscle size. You want to have maximum muscle size built from the specific training. So maybe my biceps could have been bigger if I trained it specifically, but it would be it's kind of bad example because I don't even effectively carry it in the pull-up, yeah? But it would be ballast size. I wouldn't really use it well in the pull-up. So maybe some better example. There is chest activation during pull-up, yeah? Don't doubt it. It is there, even if you thought it maybe isn't there, but it's there. And if I grow my chest by bodybuilding exercises, it won't help my pull-up anymore. It's not like the specific mass anymore, and it's just ballast mass, despite it's pure muscle. Yeah. So you want to have maximum specific muscle mass. You are able to carry. At the same time, your body fat should be at some optimum. Yeah. Let's say everyone is different, so for everyone this optimum is different. Yeah. For me, it's quite low. I think I'm under 10% body fat whole year, yeah? Without big fluctuations. Actually, the fluctuation is extremely small, yeah? But for someone else, it can be 15%, and he can have slightly more body fat in winter and slightly less in summer. Because that's some natural circle for him, yeah? And it's absolutely okay. You need to understand what is, let's say, the least body fat you can carry without any negative side effects. When I undergo my optimal body fat, I lost sleep, for example. I wake up at night because I am hungry. Yeah, and I couldn't fall asleep until I eat. So I basically take a snack during the night if this happens. And I know it's a signal, but my body is telling me, Philip, you need to eat slightly more. You don't eat enough. Yeah, even though it's very nice to see the low weight on the scale for the pull-up, yes, but the body is telling me different, yeah? So long term I wouldn't attain it, and I know I need to eat slightly more. So that's into the body composition, basically as much specific lean muscle mass as possible in order to achieve your maximum lifetime PR one day, yeah? So now let's get into the like fluctuations of the body weight, because in fitness there are the cut and bulk trend, and I tell you to don't do it. You want to main gain or maintain, yeah? At first years of training, when you have very low muscle mass, for example, you can gain some kilograms per year. It can be 5, some people add even 10 kilograms, even if it's like the specifically placed muscle mass, especially when they train whole body. Their goal is squat 2, for example. So they gain 10 kilograms of specific muscle mass on their body without gaining like fat percentages. Maybe they gain 2% of it, but barely any, yeah? And that's okay. This like clean gain, that's exactly what you want. That will lead to better lifetime 1 rep max. What you don't do is bulk cut cycle. 6 months you eat like pig, or not even like pig, you simply eat too much. It can be in clean calories if you like suffering, yeah? You eat a lot, you gain excess fat, of course you gain muscle too, and then you cut it. And why I say this is wrong? Because during the bulk you lose relative strength, and because during cut you lose your like recovery capacity, yeah, that's clear. So instead you don't train equally through the week. So the harder you train, the more you eat, you get into surplus, and the more recovered you are and the less you train, you go into the deficit or on maintenance. For example, beginners, they shouldn't be in deficit, probably they should be in deficit 0 days a week. But when I am at quite high level, I would say I can be deficit when I am recovered and not training hard. Yeah, and I eat a lot when I train hard and when I am sore. So that's some basic principles I believe in. Now let's get into the diet itself. Of course, I want to promote eating quite healthy, eating whole foods, eating less processed food than it's normal in Western diet, yeah? All those are important and it is nice. And it's great for your health, but actually it won't affect that much your training. So I will talk about the things that affect your training, yeah? The like distribution of macronutrients, it's same individual as the total amount of calories you should eat. Someone has faster metabolism, someone slower, someone moves more, someone has better feeling on more fats diet, someone on more carbs diet, but some things are general and they can be applied. So let's get into it. I believe that you should eat 2.5 or even more grams of protein per kilogram. The distribution in day, it doesn't matter much at all if you eat it like in 2 big meals or if you eat it in 5 meals. I don't think it will affect you, but of course, watch central nervous system preparation video, I will put it into the description, and it will tell you that before training you should eat carbs, and during training you should eat carbs eventually, and not big meal full of protein. So the logic solution is that the protein is placed after the training, just because you feel like shit if you go train with stomach full of 100 grams of protein. Yeah, so like this. But on the like some recovery and so on, it shouldn't be that important on the muscle building and long-term building effects, yeah? Then there are carbohydrates. I believe absolute most of people should use carbohydrates, like with the carbohydrate with long chains, like polysaccharides, yeah, for fueling the energy through the day. So I think that's the bulk of calories, yeah? It depends on how much you burn actually, because if you burn very little because you have sedentary lifestyle and your metabolism is more like slow, then you eat the protein, then you get some fats, and I will talk about them in a moment, and actually there is not much remaining for the carbs, yeah? So at that point you have quite low carb diet, but as long as there is high activity and high caloric outtake, you fuel it by carbohydrates. Yeah, you don't eat, you don't drink oil, you don't eat butter or something like that. That's not what we do in strength training. We fuel by carbohydrates. Then there is the fat part, and fat must be present every time. Yeah, because it's important for your cellular membranes, it's important for your hormone synthesis. It's absolute must. You cannot live without fat. Yeah, zero fat diet means that you are deficient, and sooner or later your health will break. Yeah, so I recommend eating, let's say, if you are like really skinny girl, it can be even 30 grams of fat per day, but I would say just eat above 50 grams of fat. Again, no need for very high number. Important is to get fat from good sources, like some fish, some nice vegetable fats. Yeah, even fat from milk. I think it's quite okay. Just don't avoid. Maybe better to say avoid the most shitty sources. Yeah, like fat processed at very high temperature. That's totally wrong. That's part of the processed food that you must avoid. Yeah, that's just very unhealthy. You can help yourself to hit correct ratios of omega-3 and omega-6 by supplementation. Absolutely okay, and I have nothing against it. I take it myself. Yeah. So that's to the macronutrients ratios. And now let's get into the micronutrients. First thing you can do is you have some diet, and it probably is more or less repetitive. You take it, you write it, and you write it to ChatGPT and ask him about the most important micronutrients. You choose some vitamins. Vitamin D, you will probably have not enough of it, especially in winter as Europeans, so you will supplement it. Vitamin C, maybe you have enough, maybe not. Magnesium, potassium, calcium, all of this, everything you can think about, you ask him how much is there. Yeah, and it's very simple. It will take you maybe 1 hour to get a good view on micronutrients in your diet, in your average diet. And when there is something deficient, you will supplement it, or you will change your diet, because micronutrients are extremely important. And yeah, if we get back into the thing I said at start, or quite at start, that you should eat whole unprocessed meals, and that will definitely help you to hit the micronutrients. Yeah, because if you eat processed food, like very highly processed food, it usually has nothing in it. Yeah, or almost nothing in it. It is caloric dense and low in micronutrients, so it's clearly not very good for you. Let's say. Now it's slightly part of the central nervous system video, but how to fuel the training itself, as said, there should be some carbohydrates. And because I told you that there should not be deficit on hard training days, but sometimes, for example, from my experience, my appetite after hard training, it's very, very low. Yeah? How to fix that? I would try to look for some very caloric dense food that is not entirely unhealthy. Yeah? First of all, I eat a lot of carbohydrates during the training, which already spikes my calories on the training day. That helps me to not be in deficit, but still I need to do big meals after the training, and my stomach is like very empty right after I finish the training, so it's quite hard to get all the food done. And you need to find your cheat codes. Yeah, it can be, I really like oat bars. In Czechia there is oat bar in Lidl. It has 100 grams, almost 10 grams of fiber, and it has 420 calories, and it's very tasty. Yeah, it's like a snack, but the snack isn't entirely unhealthy because it has the fiber, it has some long chain carbohydrates. Of course it has some sugars too, but when your exposure was really high, then it's not that big problem. Yeah, so find your cheat code. It can be dark chocolate, it can be anything that simply you enjoy. Yeah, so you actually hit your calories on the training day. Now let's get into last part of the video, how to count the calories, yeah? I talked about the body composition, and you want to reach it, and your starting point can very differ, and as long as you are not obese and you have excess fat, I recommend not cutting, but like doing, let's say, recomposition. And now I'm not going to, the biochemical like ways are different for building muscle and burning fat. So theoretically it should be possible in one day, but honestly it's like very complex system. I don't know if it's possible that you in one day you lose some fat and build some muscle. The recomposition I mean is that you train hard, you eat clean, and you eat approximately on maintenance very high protein diet, and you eat more on training days and less on rest days, as I said. And what will happen is that through time, because maybe on the training day you build some muscle, maybe on the rest day you lose some fat, for example, and through time you will realize that your body weight stays same, but your fat is slightly gone and your muscles are slightly more visible and bigger. So that's very good approach for people who have slightly more body fat than they should have for the perfect performance state. Yeah, if you are really like obese, overweight, then you must cut, yeah, of course, cut. If you are like very skinny, then there is no problem, you just eat in slight surplus. Also, this video doesn't clearly talk about very advanced athletes who have competitions. They, for example, train at comfortable body weight that is the perfect body weight that I talked about, the optimum, for example, according to their sport, but they need to fit some weight class to not get smashed by other guys, so they cut radically for competitions and so on. It's something different, and then it's more about like maintaining the performance as high as possible while losing the weight, and it's different thing than I talk here. And I believe doing this repetitively worsens your lifetime reached 1 rep max, because it's simply not you are losing during the cut, yeah, so you lose some period of effective training, and maybe in 5 years your total final 1 rep max will be few kg lower because of these like inefficient parts of year in your training. So it's not the topic of this video after all. Same as the preparation, if someone wants to combine strength sport with bodybuilding, of course the bodybuilding preparation that's from performance side and from health side, it's absolutely like bullshit, yeah. That's wrong from this point of view, yeah. Even the bulk part, honestly, but the cut part, that's like radically wrong. So yeah, that's probably everything for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and you can get more insight into my nutrition approach, diet approach, and get my personal advice on my Telegram channel. I will put a link under this video too. So yeah, eat well, train well, and have a nice time. Bye.